If you're an African American, if you're a white American, if you whoever, you say Black Lives Matter because you don't want nobody to egg your house or do something to you. Does black education matter to you? Welcome back. Yes, family, friends, subscribers, all of y'all, man. Welcome back. Let me make sure my phone is on silent. I don't want that going off. Man, let's talk about it. You see it by the title. We're talking about HBCUs. We're talking about money. We're talking about funding, right? We're talking about black people supporting black people. We're talking about Black Lives Matter. Black education matter. Black education matters. We're talking about all of that, man. Black businesses matter. When we say Black Lives Matter, it's more than just people, places. It's everything about them. It's everything about them. When we say Black Lives Matter, it's everything about them. And I think even African American people need to understand what the origin and the purpose of Black Lives Matter. We understand that our black men, such as myself, are looked at different and persecuted a lot more than others. We understand that. And I could talk all day about that. But let's talk about our educational field. Talk about black education. Black education in our urban communities. Black education when it comes to funding our college educations at our HBCUs. Let's talk about that. All this money they gave America, the billions of dollars that was spent, but they ain't got no money. The government never had money. Now, I will never eliminate the fact that we as African American people need to support our own. We need to send our kids to these institutions of learning. These HBCUs, they are falling. They are lacking in funding. We need to just stop thinking about Howard, Morehouse. I mean, those are good. Those are great institutions. I'm not trying to say don't send your kids there or don't go there, but there are more historically black colleges than those. There's small ones, they're big ones, they're medium-sized ones. Whatever you think. Not only are they lacking in funding, they're lacking in participation from the African American community when it comes to athletics. I know your mama need a new house, a new car, but you shouldn't sell out to a PWI, predominantly white school, just because they want to give your mama a house, which is actually illegal for you to go to their school. Because you know why they want you to go to their school? Because they want you to bring money to their school. But guess what? Those cameras, they're going to follow you to an HBCU. Just like they came and got you in the neighborhood. When you seen all of these African American people going crazy at a basketball game, at a football game, at a track meet, at a volleyball game, at a softball game, at a baseball game, whatever the sport is, they came to recruit you there. They sat among African American people. They've done it before. When they wanted to, let's go back in history, right? Think about Jackie Robinson. And when they wanted to recruit him, to Major League Baseball, those white individuals, those writers, those recruiters, they sat among the African American community to see them play. That's what they did when they went to your high school, didn't they? They went to your high school among all those people, talked to your coaches, came to your house, came to your neighborhood to recruit you. Because they wanted the best. Why don't you want the best for your community, for your people? Black Lives Matter. Let that sit right there for a second. Then what happens? More endorsements come to African American communities as well as African American schools, HBCUs. It ain't like they ain't going to the league. LSU, no disrespect to all my friends that went to LSU, but LSU football been stealing Grambling football players for years. Go and check the history on it. Go and check the history on African American superstars going to Grambling and then it shifting. I believe it was like the late 80s, going into the 90s. But these people from LSU started to recruit the same people and try to offer them more by providing them blue chipping them, by providing their families with funding because they lived in the hood. Listen, man, I guarantee you will take care of you at HBCU. I guarantee you will have more cultural valued education if you go to an HBCU. I guarantee you. Don't sell out for finances, man. They get you once, they'll get you again. They get you once, they'll get you again. Just because you're the top recruit does not mean you have to go to a PWI. Because why? Those same TV analysts are going to come to where you are. They're going to come to where you are. They're going to come to where you are. It's not by accident. It is not by accident that Deion Sanders went to Jackson State to be a coach. Because after he became a little older, he understood the value. You have to understand the difference in value, in valued education, in hope and faith in your own people. That is a purpose. It was purposed. The man will tell you. He said he prayed about it. Because a lot of schools were, they would love to have Deion Sanders because he's an icon. Because of what he did on the field. No, he did not go to an HBCU, but he didn't know what he knows now. But we're trying to educate you now on things such as this. If you go and you look at the value of pouring back into your own and building your own, building that Wall Street again. Listen, I am not a racist, but I am for building up our communities. How do we build back up our communities? Every other culture, they practice nepotism. You cannot be so high as an African American person and feel like you have to keep somebody low so you can keep your status of being high. I've never seen one car on the road. I've never seen one brand of anything. Legally, in the business market, if you monopolize one product, it's actually illegal. We got the wrong people in office to try to do it and try to monopolize so they can be wealthy, more wealthy, and try to monopolize the system so can't nobody come in. That's actually illegal. Look it up. But before we get all that, let's get our situation straight. Historically, black colleges and universities are the best schools you can go to. We need to put our money back into those institutions. And then let's go down the line. We need to put our money back into our black high schools, into our black junior high and middle schools, and in our black elementary schools. Why not? Like I know in my community, they got the DSIG program. It's a gift and a curse. I'll tell you that. You take these African American people, you rob them of their community. You take them to a school where they get a good quality education, but then you send them back. Let's build up the community so that we can build up the schools in that community. Let's think about that, man. HBCUs or the wave of the future. You don't need to go to a PWI to get a quality education. You could be well-rounded and cultured at a HBCU. We don't need to settle. And this is the thing. The thing about it is, you don't even have to be black to go to an HBCU. You could be of any culture. You know how many Japanese, Vietnamese, whites, black, they all go to HBCUs. If you think it's not a value in going to an HBCU, that's because you made it that way. And since you think that way, that's what you pour into. You only fund what you believe in. Why don't you believe in our HBCUs? Why don't you believe in our black education? Why don't you believe that black education matters? Why don't you believe it? I would never put somebody down that went to a predominantly white school not knowing the information. But I guarantee you this. I guarantee you this. If you were an African American student and there was an HBCU in the vicinity, I guarantee you went to go talk to their women. Females, I guarantee you went to go talk to the men on that campus. I bet you went to the football games and the basketball games and the track because they were hype. They were fun. You don't think those kids were getting an education? You went to go enjoy yourself. I learned this from one of my teachers in graduate school. So, actually, I take that back. It was in undergrad and in graduate school. Two different teachers told me at two different times the same thing. They didn't know each other. When I was in undergrad, I took a course. I got my degree in business marketing, and in one of my marketing classes, I asked the professor. She was an adjunct professor. And I asked her, what schools did she teach at? She said she taught at UMSL, University of Missouri St. Louis, taught at SLU, St. Louis University, and Harris-Stowe State University, which is the HBCU. So I said, you teach the same course? She said, yeah. I said, so what's different? She said, the students? I said, no. I know that. But what's different in the educational value that you provide and that you teach? She said, nothing. Y'all learn the exact same thing. She said, the only thing different with you all's classes are the name on the syllabus. Blew my mind. Even though I figured that, she told me out of her mouth that the only thing that was different was the name on the syllabus. So St. Louis University of Missouri St. Louis, we all had the same marketing class using the same book, getting the same education. She said, y'all got the same work. She said, I'm not going to work myself harder. Hello. Is the bells moving now? Because right now it's me, my camera, and my mic, and I'm telling the truth about this thing. So then in graduate school, I go to Webster University because I stayed in St. Louis. And we didn't have a historical black college for me to get my master's degree while I was working at the time. So then I asked that teacher. She told me in reverse because she worked at Webster. And she worked as a professor at Webster and an adjunct at other schools. And I asked her, I said, do you change anything other than your syllabus? The name on your syllabus? She said, no. She said, these kids at multiple schools that I teach at are learning the exact same thing because she said it does not change. She said it does not change. She said whatever subject that you're learning, it does not change based off the institution. Now, the institution might provide a little bit more when it comes to like internships tutoring. What? They're not going to, she said, if they provide anything extra, it's not much, because most of the information is in the book that you all are sharing, because you all buy the same book. I'm going to let that sit right there for you all that don't understand and want to say, I'm going to this, because you just want a brand name. That's all it is. It's just a brand name. It's just a brand's name. It's a brand. You're buying the name. You're buying into the name. So whatever buying power you get with that, okay, whatever. But the educational value is the same. They ain't gonna tell you that. I'm gonna tell you though. They ain't gonna tell you that. I'm going to tell you that, because I want you to know. I want you to know that you can go get a quality education as an African American student, as a white student, as a Chinese student, as a Japanese student, as a Vietnamese student, whatever you are, at a historical black college and university. You get the same education you would get at the most prestige school that you want to call it, whatever. How much do you want to learn? How in depth and how deep will you go into your for your education? How many books will you read outside of the norm book that you may read in class? That's your choice. Your education is your choice. How in depth will you go? How much will you research? Will you research and reach out? But I'm gonna tell you one thing that HBCU does: put a grind in you, because you know you probably the underdog. So you go a little bit harder. That's why we so passionate about our schools. Have you ever met or talked to a person who went to an HBCU? You know why they're so passionate? Because they know what they put in to get their education. They know when people doubted them, other schools looked down on them, or they doubted them in general, they put in for it. You could just tell that in the quality of homecoming. It's just not for fun and play, just to go party. We coming home to actually have a good time because we did our thing on this campus. The rest of y'all coming to have a good time, but we know what we did on the campus that we went to. And we want to see the campus evolve. So donate, throw money back. I don't care if it's $25 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month. You could afford it. Give it back to your institution because they need it. They need it. So they can make and pave the way for more people that was just like you. Don't be selfish. Send your money back. Finance it. If you can, if you live in a city where your school was, go adjunct. If you have a master's, you do have to have a master's to do that. Go adjunct at your institution. Bring back that value, that pride. Come on, man. How much do you love it? Do we matter when it comes to education? We say Black Lives Matter, but does Black education matters? Does Black education, I'm so passionate about it, I can't even get it out. Does Black education matter to you? If you're an African American, if you're a white American, if you whoever, you say Black Lives Matter because you don't want nobody to egg your house or do something to you. Does Black education matter to you? Does Black education matter to you? You need to think about that. To all my folks out there, man, I salute the divinity in you, and we will see you next time right here. Think Smart Radio. Me, my camera, my mic. I'm going to give it to you raw. I'm going to give you everything you need. I'm going to give you affirmations. I'm going to give you hope. I'm going to give you faith. I'm going to give you truth. But 100% am I going to stand up for the culture at my convenience. Some situations I might not talk about. I pray about it. See if I need to talk about it. But right now, what we need, because we lost so much, is education. We just went a year of these kids being at home. A whole year and a half, actually. These kids at home, and we have frustrated parents. They're not teachers. They're not educators. This thing will affect them in the long run. But we need to pour back into our education, our educational programs. I don't care where you are. You need to pour back into educational program. I'm not even promoting mine, because whatever's going on in your community, pour back into that one. I want all of us to grow. I want every educational program for the urban community to grow. No matter who you are, what you're doing. I'm not selfish. We all can benefit from helping our young people. I wish I had it more when I was coming up. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't see it. I don't know. But I know what I can do now. So again, I salute the divinity in you, and we will see you next time. ThinkSmart Radio.